At first, people laughed. They laughed because of the nickname. They laughed because of the jokes. They laughed because he liked scaring teammates in the locker room, hiding behind doors, jumping out when no one expected it. Chucky. A childish name. A playful image. Almost harmless. But football has never been kind to men who hide behind humor. And Europe has never forgiven players who arrive smiling instead of apologizing. What most people didn't understand was that the nickname wasn't a mask. It was a warning. Behind the jokes lived a player obsessed with movement. Behind the laughter lived a man who measured every run, every acceleration, every second of advantage. Behind Chucky lived a footballer who would quietly rewrite what it meant to be Mexican in elite European football. Because this story is not about pranks. It is about pressure. It is not about charisma. It is about breaking ceilings that were never supposed to be broken. This is the story of Hirving Lozano, the Mexican who didn't ask for permission, the Mexican who became a record. To understand Lozano, you must understand Mexico's relationship with football. Mexico produces talent. Mexico produces passion. Mexico produces noise. But Mexico rarely produces belief, at least not from the outside. For decades, Mexican players were labeled as technically gifted but tactically naive, fast but fragile, skilled but inconsistent, entertaining but unreliable under pressure. European football didn't openly reject Mexicans. It did something worse. It tolerated them. Hirving Lozano grew up inside that reality. Born in Mexico City, formed at Pachuca, a club known not for marketing, but for discipline, Lozano didn't develop as a luxury talent. He developed as a weapon. At Pachuca, there was no room for indulgence. If you ran with purpose. If you attacked the space, not the camera. From the beginning, Lozano's football was defined by one thing: urgency. His runs were not beautiful. They were violent. They cut defenses like a blade instead of dancing around them. While others tried to impress, Lozano tried to arrive first. And that mentality would later save his career. When PSV Eindhoven signed Hirving Lozano, it wasn't a romantic transfer. It was a test. The Eredivisie has always been a paradoxical league. It welcomes talent, but it exposes weaknesses brutally. It rewards attackers, but it punishes those who don't learn quickly. For Mexican players, the Netherlands was uncharted territory. No cultural comfort, no media protection, no historical precedent to hide behind. Lozano arrived with speed, confidence, and growing target on his back. What happened next shocked more than just PSV fans. In his first season, Lozano didn't adapt. He exploded. Goals came early, then assists, then decisive actions in matches where PSV needed answers. And suddenly comparisons started appearing, uncomfortable ones. Ronaldo Nazário, the Brazilian phenomenon, had once set the standard for explosive beginnings in the Eredivisie. Few dared to mention his name in the same breath as a newcomer. Lozano didn't mention it either. He simply surpassed it. He scored more. He arrived faster. He became essential sooner. By the end of the season, Lozano wasn't just productive, he was historic. Top scorer of PSV, league champion, a Mexican rewriting Dutch football statistics. And that is when Europe panicked, because talent is acceptable. But dominance from unexpected places makes systems nervous. Napoli didn't buy Hirving Lozano. Napoli judged him. When the Italian club paid a record fee to sign him, Lozano became the most expensive Mexican footballer in history. That number was not protection. It was a sentence. In Italy, price tags define reputations before players touch the ball. For Lozano, the message was clear. You are not here to grow. You are here to justify. And Italy is merciless with those who arrive as justification instead of romance. Italian football doesn't care about speed if it lacks intelligence. It doesn't admire flair unless it understands sacrifice. For Lozano, this meant transformation. He was no longer judged by goals alone. He was judged by positioning, by defensive discipline, by tactical obedience. Criticism came fast, too direct, too predictable, too raw. And for the first time, Lozano faced something more dangerous than defenders. doubt. What saved Lozano in Italy was not talent. It was humility. Instead of fighting the system, he absorbed it. Instead of demanding freedom, he learned structure. His runs became smarter. His pressing more calculated. His role more complete. He learned to play without the ball. He learned to suffer for the team. And slowly, something historic happened. When Napoli lifted the Serie A title, the moment wasn't loud for Lozano. There were no headlines screaming his name. No documentaries celebrating his journey. But history does not ask for applause. Hirving Lozano became the first Mexican footballer to win the Italian league. Not as a mascot, not as a reserve, but as a contributing piece of a champion machine. That single achievement quietly destroyed decades of prejudice. A Mexican, champion of Italy. No excuses, no footnotes. What fans rarely see is the weight that comes with being the first. Lozano didn't just play for Napoli. He played for every Mexican player who would be judged after him. Every mistake became national debate. Every poor performance became confirmation bias. And still he endured. Not with speeches, not with defiance, but with work. Hirving Lozano's career is not defined by trophies alone, is defined by access. After him, Mexican players became investments, not gambles. Scouts stopped asking if Mexicans could adapt and started asking which ones. Doors once closed became negotiable. Lozano didn't change football with magic. He changed it with repetition. Run after run. Press after press. Season after season. Today, the nickname still exists. The jokes still surface. The smile still appears. But make no mistake, that smile belongs to a man who fought geography, prejudice, and expectation. A man who became a record without ever asking to be a symbol. Hirving Lozano didn't arrive to entertain Europe. He arrived to stay. And that may be his greatest achievement of all. Football history is not written only by geniuses. It is written by those who survive environments that were not designed for them. Hirving Chucky, Lozano survived. And in doing so, he rewrote what survival looks like for Mexican football. Not loud, not flashy, but undeniable. If this story made you see football differently, don't just move on. Stories like this disappear when they're not supported. So leave your like now, not for the algorithm, but to keep stories like this alive. Subscribe to the channel, because here we don't talk about hype. We talk about what football hides. And click on the next video, because the next story might challenge everything you think you know about the game. See you there.